Jon Soltz is an Iraq War veteran and chairman of the political action committee, VoteVets.org. Do you think that there's any question how history will judge the Iraq War?
I think that depends on what side of the debate you're on. If you're an Iraqi or an American, so in that standpoint, yes. But from the American side, I think it's pretty clear we spent trillions of dollars, lost thousands of lives, and basically intervened in a conflict that we use misleading information to sell to our country. So I think for us, it's been a huge disaster, not just in regards to defeating al-Qaeda, its sort of supercharged recruitment, but in regards to the Iranian influence that we're seeing spread throughout the Middle East.
It does seem, John, that whatever stability and success the United States has been able to push forward in Iraq, that stability is on thin ice right now. The violence still erupts. We saw it just last week with coordinated attacks targeting the security forces in Iraq. How optimistic are you that the situation remains calm enough, stable enough that our combat troops don't have to go back in?
Well, our combat troops are still in. I think that's the big problem with the president's speech last night. Our troops are in combat. The situation in Iraq is going to continue to deteriorate as we pull our troops out of, continue to pull our troops out of supporting the Iraqi military or controlling land area itself. Then we're relying on a very tenuous sort of low-level violence period where there's been no agreements from warring parties. There's no agreement on the Iraqi oil law. There's no agreement on what's going to happen with the city of Kirkuk. So there's still a lot of political propensity for violence. I think that will continue, and I think that's the big error the president made last night.
But the administration and the military insist that those soldiers who remain behind, John, are not combat troops, that when the violence unfolds, that they are there strictly as an advisory and support role.
Contessa, frankly, that's misleading. I can tell you, and no one's done more to attack George Bush and his administration on the Iraq War than VoteVets.org has. But that's a frankly misleading statement from the White House and the Pentagon, and it turns my stomach inside. When I was in Iraq in 2003, the very first thing that happened to me my first night was we got attacked. And George Bush had just said, mission accomplished, no more combat troops. We have infantrymen, armor guys, combat, military, occupational specialty troops on the ground, embedded in combat operations right now. Even if they're not packaged into a combat mission, that's ridiculous. Our troops are getting shot at. And for the men and women on the ground, it's combat.
John, we'll be watching to see when the remainder of the troops come home. The president has asked for 2011 to be the goal date. We'll be watching for that. Thank you, as always, for sharing your perspective. What do reindeer do when